degeneracy and decency, it behooves you to ask yourself which route you should go, which direction you should take, which destination you want to arrive at, what journey you'd like to embark on. Because I tell you what, I have tried doing both, and I think ultimately it depends on what you want to get out of life. What sort of nectar do you want to squeeze from what you've been given? What sort of offspring do you want to bring into the world? And I tell you what, the degeneracy route is the easy one, without a doubt. And it's quite rewarding, right, in terms of adventuring or adventure maxing your way to lessons in life, because it requires you to sort of throw caution into the wind and to not heed the warnings. And I'll tell you what, it was a very interesting time for me to go the degenerate route and not think twice about anything, and kind of do things on my own terms based on the prescription that I was given. And it was interesting. It was a fun time. It was a reckless time. It left a lot of smiles on my face for sure, but a lot of sorrow in the process. And I think the thing about the degenerate sort of route is that it's fun in the short term, but long term, I think that's where you start to see sort of the scar tissue not being able to heal itself. And a perfect example is like the hookup aspect of it, right? Is sort of embarking on these like short-term trysts over and over and over again, and expecting not to have long-term effects related to that. And I tell you what, the people that have gone that route have a hard time figuring it out afterwards. And women in particular have especially a hard time. But even the dudes that go that route, it seems that they can adjust to the tempered sort of manner of being with one person. They can sort of adjust, but I think a lot of women have a hard time with that because they don't know how to behave any other way, and they've done it for so long that they can just, they have a hard time adjusting. On the other hand, the guy that goes the degenerate route can eventually just adjust to civilian life, if you will, right? Because you warrified yourself enough that you're like, I want peace. Enough of the violence. I'm ready for some tranquility, some serenity in life. But let's talk about the decent route, right? Going the decency route. I think there is some utility to that as well, because it's a lot harder to go that route without having to get even religious about it. But it's harder to go the decent route. It's harder to decide to not do something or not exercise opportunities because you know it doesn't fit within your sort of moral compass. And that's a lot harder to do. And how to craft a route that feels decent is difficult because the temptations are alluring. They're there. They're everywhere. In particular with pixelated images of people doing things you'd want to do, right? That's a huge one. That's one that easily grabs a lot of people's attention, and it keeps them there locked in daily, repeatedly. And that addiction can be afflicting. Then there's the self-medication route, if you will, right? Where the modern world is very difficult to trudge through. And so you want to numb yourself, and you do so, via alcohol or drugs. And then that becomes a crutch, and that becomes a part of your identity. And that's really easy, really difficult to unwire from, right? To unplug from. And there's that part. And then there's the part of just overall, all the noise of modernity, right? The technology that sort of, fries your dopamine circuits. And so you have a hard time with that as well. So, to avoid all those things, I say all that to say is that it's very difficult to do, very, very difficult, because you got to have something that's going to replace that. What's going to come in its place? What is it? Is it harking back to nature? Is it going for walks without technology? Is it working out without your headphones? Is it finding friends that are going to put you at ease? Is it finding a wife or a girlfriend or someone to date that's going to make you better and push you to be more and demand more of you? What is it that is going to get you to the decent route? Because like I said, I think there's something to going the degenerate route and then opting to go the decent route, right? Opting for decency in the long term, like I have done. I decided that this wasn't for me. It didn't fit my lifestyle. I pushed myself to go the degenerate route, but the reality was it was never in me. I wasn't a dog like that. I couldn't do that bro stuff. It was too much for my sensitive CNS. I'm glad I tried it. Nevertheless, there was a lot of lessons to be gleaned, but I would much rather live a decent life, a life I could be proud of, one that I could look back on and say, you know what, I did the right thing. I was a good person. I took care of people. I helped out as much as possible. I made the right decisions as much as I could. And I think I could live with that. I could go to sleep at night with knowing that I did as much as I could in that department, right? And helped as many people as possible, as much as I've helped myself. So anyhow, it's a decision for you to make. Do you want to go the degeneracy route or the decency route? You tell me. Hope this helps, and I'll see you in the